So standby database, when it comes to the business continuity plan or the disaster recovery plan, your standby database is very, very mandatory. So we have a primary database which will be in read write mode. Let's say a primary database is your production database, which will be in read write mode. The standby database, which will be in mount mode. Let's say if you can configure your a production database, maybe let's say in London data center, all your end users will be connecting to your production database. So whatever the transactions are happening, all the end users will be connecting to your production database and your business is continuing to run. So for some reason, your London data center disaster happens. The disaster in the sense it may be flood or fire or earthquake or whatever reason your entire data center is down. So what we talked last weeks, so we'll be having this production database backup. So these backups are useful whenever your database is crashed, whenever your server is crashed. You can get a new server and then you can use these backups and you can restore and recover. You can rebuild your production database and the end user client will connect to this new database on the new server. So backups are useful whenever there is a server crash, whenever there is a database crash. With help of backups, we can rebuild our database and we can run our business continuity. Here the scenario is entire data center itself is corrupted, entire data center itself is crashed due to disaster, right? Fire or earthquake or whatever disaster scenario, your data center is lost. So you just imagine building a server or building a database is quite simple. You have a data center infrastructure, everything is ready. You can easily build your database or server using the backups. But here the data center itself is corrupted or crashed, and then how much time you need to build your data center. It may take a month or it may take a 6 months. It's not that easy. So because of that critical scenario, your standby database is came into picture. What exactly meaning by standby database? So I have production database where my data center is in London, where prod database is running, and then we will set up a replica copy in let's say New York or Washington DC. In some other region, you're going to set up your DR database. So whatever the client who is connected and doing the transaction, the same transactions will be transferred to standby and then applied on standby. In case of your standby will be always in sync with production database. Whatever the transactions happens, 10 transactions happens on production side, all those 10 transactions will be transferred to standby and then applied on standby. So in case of any disaster happens to your London data center, so you can quickly open your database. Your prod database will be in read and write mode, open mode. Your DR will be in mount mode. So the moment your production data center is crashed, you can open your DR database in read and write mode. After that, you can ask your clients to connect your new production database here. So that's one of the business continuity plan. DR database is very, very helpful in case of any data center crash. So your production database will be in read write mode and all the applications users will be connected. And then your DR database will be in mount mode where you cannot run any query and that will be in always sync with your production database. and this standby database or DR database. So many people will call it as a standby or DR. Both are one and same. So in case of any disaster happens, we're going to activate our standby database and we're going to open our standby database into read write mode, and all the end users will connect over there.